So when I say be comfortable and safe, it's not even just about, do you have a latex allergy? The kind of thing. So maybe don't get a latex dildo if you do. I mean the slightly less obvious stuff, right? Like, because C4 looked completely lost when I commented on like carpal tunnel and tennis elbow. You were like, "What? What do you mean?
I
Why
wasn't quite aware on the vibrations. Like I understand it once you explain it. Like it makes sense, but I didn't I wasn't aware of that thought process.
Yeah, I would never have thought of that. Carpal tunnel.
Yeah. So do you have a repetitive stress injury? Is that something you need to take into account? Or does your partner have a repetitive stress injury? And is that something you guys need to consider and take into account? When you're playing with tools, toys, experimenting, how good is the soundproofing in the room that you're playing in?
Nothing's more
really? How good is the soundproofing?
It's an important question.
That really is, yeah.
Because that very much falls under the be comfortable category. If you are so paranoid about your neighbors, other people in the house, anyone being able to hear what you're doing, it's going to be very difficult to sort of be present in the moment and just let yourself enjoy it, if that's what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
So how's the soundproofing? Maybe a few towels under the door and,
that doesn't work.
Maybe choose a different room or, something.
That works.
Like just be aware, right? Like, where are you playing with your partner? Right?
Don't fool yourself. The towels under the door is a lie.
That never works.
It's all the walls.
Yeah.
Oh man, we've got one room. Actually, the room I'm in, the soundproofing in here is so bad. There's a room in the basement that just like the laundry room isn't even finished. So everything you hear, and it's just
If you are shopping at a sex store and they let you turn the motors of the toys on, some have demo toys that are like out of the boxes that you can actually like turn the dials. Obviously you can't apply it to your genitalia, but you can use it with your hands and so on and so forth. Yeah. And so one of the things you might want to consider is, how loud is the motor? Right?
Yeah.
Is it this? Or is it this?
Yeah, or if it has
you guys hear the difference?
Yeah.
So
or if it even has a setting to adjust or something.
How loud is the motor? I have literally bought toys with quieter motors, not for what they would do to my body, but just so that I could keep the rest of my household from knowing that I was enjoying myself. So it's just something to consider.
Be a little more discreet.
And under that category of be comfortable and safe, before you actually play with your toys, in any event, I know it's easy to get caught up in the moment, but you should still take a few seconds and inspect your toys. Like, has it been a while since you've used it? When's the last time you cleaned it?
Yeah.
How fresh are the batteries? Is the rubber or the latex on it cracked and dried out? So you shouldn't be putting stuff like that into or probably against your body, because that's not hygienic or safe.
Sterilizing is key.
That's why you always have a bottle of toy cleaner.
Keeping stuff clean is important.
You know what? I have a whole category about cleaning, so we will get to that. I promise. But like when I was going through my toy box, this one I didn't realize I'd actually left batteries in it, and they've leaked, and so it's corroded the whole motor inside. So inspect your toys first, especially long before they get to skin contact of any kind.
Yeah, battery acid doesn't
could go very badly.
Yeah.
Sound like a good time.
Yeah.
I mean,
or how about the
battery
batteries? Did you check to see if the motor will turn on? Like, do you need new batteries? Like, that also falls under inspect your toys first. If you are using a motorized one, do you need fresh batteries? Like, are they done? So, and then sort of the last point I'll talk about in be comfortable and safe is, if you're playing with a partner or partners and toys or tools are involved, make sure everyone is comfortable with everything that you're bringing into the room. There may be certain toys and tools that don't flip your switch, that you don't want to have anything to do with it. But if your partner is really into them, experiment enough with them, or like in the case of something motorized, put it up against your skin into some very more delicate parts. Maybe not your primary sex organs, maybe some of your secondary ones, just to see what the sensation feels like on your body so that you have an idea of what it's doing to them. And I say that because it's a really good rule of thumb, no pun intended, to never, play with something with your partner that you don't know what it's doing to their body. Because that could mean that you're using the tool or toy or apparatus in a really poor way. And then can be very counterproductive for what you're trying to achieve, of course. So, like I said, just like the sound of the motor, how different does that feel for the different settings, like against your hand, against your neck, something like that? Have an idea, even if it's something that you're not interested in, know what it's doing to your body and maybe how to use it a little bit before you apply it to your partner. And that will make you a rock star, because then you're going to be very much more aware of what it's doing to them. Whether or not it gives you pleasure or not, it's just still a great idea to know how to use a tool, even if it's something you don't want to play with. So,
yeah, makes sense.
Definitely have had those.
Seems like...
Sorry, I'll let you go first.
No, I was just going to say that seems like really great advice and wisdom.
Oh, yeah. I totally wish I had that wisdom growing up, because there's definitely been many times where something has happened where all of a sudden everything gets awkward for a couple minutes. It's like, yeah, so we're not doing that again.
You know what? And those are going to happen even if you've played with that toy before, right? Like, let's be real. Having sex can be really silly. Bodies make weird noises. Somebody leans on your hair, like you try out satin sheets and you slip off the bed and like a slip and slide and you like crack your head on the wall.
It's so true. No,
totally done that. Totally done that.
Oh my God, satin sheets are the worst.
So dangerous.
So bad. It's like you're fighting, especially when you have more than another person in that bed. It's like you're not just trying to stay in the bed. You're fighting with the sheets to stay on the bed. I hate satin. So bad.
I'd much rather give me plain cotton. Just give me a really beautifully high thread count so that they're like silky like butter.
Oh, but they're so hard to wash and they'll smell bad for weeks.
No. Just they will wash like a dream. I promise you. It's one of the things that I don't mind like spending money on. On most other stuff in my house, I don't care if it's a 99-cent bath towel or anything else in the house. But sheets, I will spend a little more money than normal on if it's a great thread count and they feel just amazing. Because the more you wash them, the softer they get. And they're just, Anyway, so give me a great pair of cotton sheets before satin, because as C4 was like, they're like, oh my God, they're so dangerous.
So bad.
So
it's like a
make sure you're both comfortable. Is there enough pillows? Because if you want to lift up some body parts but not have to hold them up, then make sure you've got enough pillows around and all of that great stuff.
Or a great pulley system works too.
Yes.
Pulleys work really well.
But have you played with the pulley system? Well, fully dressed before things get, like you said, where you lead to that really awkward moment.
Yes.
I don't remember how to release that.
Or like, oh no, this should hold your weight
for an hour.
Yeah. So point number 1, be comfortable and safe. So that involves like lots of different stuff. All right, we ready for number 2?
Yes.
All right. Consider cleaning. When you are bringing toys, apparatus, tools, anything that you're going to play with, including satin sheets.
I was gonna say
and
that
high thread count sheets.
That could also double for body parts.
Yes.
Yep. That's why I was.
Yep.
That's where my brain went
Absolutely.
right away.
Make sure you clean
Clean
body
yourself.
parts.
Consider cleaning, right?
Clean
Like
all the body parts that are going to be involved.
Believe it or not, a lot of
Even
toys,
more of them,
because of newer plastics and polymers that a lot of the newer toys are made out of, because so many of them have moved away from latex completely. And a lot of these new latexes, rubbers, and polymers are actually dishwasher safe.
Yeah, they are.
So when I say consider cleaning, also consider how to make it easy to clean your stuff. And like Insanieac, no, who said? Oh, Greasy Boy was saying, make sure you have wipes. I 100% agree.
I have a bottle of it.
To a point. I will use baby wipes if it's a toy that I just want to kind of take off the worst of the mess and clean myself up really quick, if we're going to keep playing. So there's usually baby wipes around this house. I use them in crafting. I use them to remove makeup. They're like all over this house. But they're not expensive, and they don't for a woman's body, they don't wreck the pH around a woman's vagina, so you can clean yourself up super quick and easy. They're easy peasy. If I'm fully cleaning a toy before it goes back into the toy box, before it goes, back to wherever I'm storing them, believe it or not, are handy dandy Lysol wipes or something else, because it'll break down the skin oils, the actual sloughed off skin, the any bodily fluids that come out.
You're just talking
cleans
about regular
like a dream.
Disinfecting wipes, right?
Disinfecting wipes. Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I always say, if it's safe and gentle and cleansing for your genitals, then it's completely fine to use on your toys too. So if what you have is soapy water in a sink and you've washed your hands and you wash your toy too, that's beautiful. My only recommendation, though, is to just make sure you dry them very well. These are a lot of them, if it's the super pliable sort of materials, you can wash them really great, but try and find yourself paper towels that don't leave fibers. Like blue shop towels are one of them, or a chamois or microfiber cloth. Something, dry them off very well. Leaving water on some toys that are really flexible and squishy like this can sometimes erode them and put little pock marks in it. And same with the cleansers. So if I'm doing a big clean at the end of a really intense play session or something, then I will grab my disinfecting wipes, wipe stuff down really quick, run it under some soapy water in the sink, and then just take a quick paper towel, dry them off, done. Really doesn't take long. And that's somebody speaking from who's a very limited energy window. If I'm saying it doesn't take very long and I still have time to do it, anyone able-bodied can totally do this. It does not take a lot of time. And it means some of my toys I have truly had over 10 years, just because I took care of them and they still do the job. So why not? Why wouldn't I keep using them? Why wouldn't I keep them? Right? So remember, some pieces are dishwasher safe. Gentle soap and water absolutely does the trick. And wipes are also a great standby as well. And then a lot of companies, if you go onto their websites after you purchase a toy, will actually give you cleaning instructions or recommendations. So
what I've seen is some of the things that I've gotten have actually come with the cleaning instructions in the box.
In the box, yep. Some of them do. I found the websites are a little bit more comprehensive, because I have seen those cleaning instructions in there as well. I just find that there's a little more information, and everyone's favorite tool, YouTube it.
Yeah. I personally really enjoy this brand right here, though. Really useful.
Oh, Toy Cleaner.
Yeah.
Okay, which brand is that? Greasy Boy.
Calisthenics.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard of that one, but now absolutely you can buy a separate product, but all of us have got hand soap.
Oh,
right? And in the days of our pandemic, pretty much all of us have got some kind of antiseptic cleaner in our house. Be very careful, though, about alcohol wipes or any alcohol sprays or hand sanitizer. The alcohol in it will very much dry out and crack certain polymers and rubbers. So if you were going to use those, that's great. But I would just really rinse them off and dry them very well after. To try and keep that alcohol from staying on the surface and again potentially eroding some of those materials. So yeah.
A former partner of mine actually stored their toys too close together and they just melted.
Yeah.
It sucks because those were $400 between the two of them.
Yep. Ooh. So hence point number 3, consider storage. For exactly that reason. If security for your toys is something you're concerned about, do you not want to have them roll out of a mattress and traumatize your family?
What? That's the best part, though.
Do you not do you share a house with other people that you wouldn't necessarily want them knowing, where your toys are or how to get to them?
That you never know where they're going to look when they're here.
Yeah. Nosy friends, whatever.
Yeah.
So the security of your toys, you can literally purchase toy boxes with locks on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
I used
Companies
to have
that make sex toys also make toy boxes, and some of them will either have a dial combination lock or hinges that you can put a padlock through if you want. So the security of your toys is something to consider. And just like Greasy Boy was saying, the temperature, the humidity, all of that stuff, if you leave certain polymers and plastics together in an ambient temperature house, or if it gets really warm in that bedroom, perchance, if that's where you're keeping them, they can melt together. They can, the batteries can melt through the motors. So it's a really, really important to think about that when you're storing it, not only about security, temperature, and humidity. If it's a toy that you don't use very often, please take the batteries out. Please, please, please take the batteries out of it. I can't stress that enough. Don't, as you said, Greasy Boy, lose hundreds of dollars, because some toys are a pretty big investment. For something as simple as if I'd taken the batteries out, it wouldn't have been an issue. So yeah, that's just something also to consider storage. Where are you going to keep them? How handy do you want them to be, right? If you're one of those very impulsive lovers, do you want them to be able to grab them right away? So you need to consider where they're located in the room that you play the most in, and how to get at them, and conversely, how to keep other people that you don't want playing with them away from them. So just something to think about.
I've heard so many horror stories of parents finding their kids waving around their toys. It's a lightsaber or something else.
Yeah, safe
Mommy, look, I'm a unicorn.
Yeah.
I found my parents. So that's kind of how I learned a little bit more about it. So.
Oh.
But that added to my knowledge, I guess, because I didn't know about the things that they knew about. Because I only went to school and I was in grade 5 and 4 around the time when they were doing sex education, but it was very basic. I got more of it later when I went into junior high, but in elementary school, it's literally just trying to understand your body. That was it.
Yeah.
My parents were pretty vanilla. Most of the sex ed I got before I turned 13 was from my grandmother. My French grandmother, who would just talk about sleeping with men all the time to me and my sisters. Told us never to get married, never start dating, just be single until we died.
I guess in a kind of I got lucky since my parents actually had a book called The Ultimate Sex Guide, and it was literally like a book with diagrams and everything, like, so pretty easy to learn from that.
My brother and I were talking a couple years ago and discovered that neither of us ever, from what we can tell, neither of us ever even got close to catching our parents doing anything. So it was interesting information to have.
Yeah, I had a mom who have a mom. I apologize for the past tense. I don't know where that came from. I have a mom who's been married 5 times, had lots of boyfriends. So, I very much had the cool mom, and so my friends not only felt comfortable talking to me about things, but like they would come over for dinner, and my mom and I were having like very frank and very open discussions about, you know, the pros and cons of an IUD at the dinner table. And, you know, my friends' jaws were down to here because they were not only horrified that I would even admit to my mother that I was thinking about birth control and therefore thinking about being sexually active, but that I could talk to her about it at the dinner table. And this wasn't weird.
Awesome.
It should be like that.
And she would always say to my friends, if you can't go to a trusted adult who has your best interests at heart, and whether that's a school counselor, she's like, or me, or a trusted aunt or uncle, or like anyone, because if you don't want to go to your parents, that's legit. But there are other adults in your life that you can ask these questions to who will have your best interests at heart. So go and ask them, because please don't like get awful information from your friends who think that they've, you know, heard about something or other. Because of course, you know, the days long before you could YouTube anything.
I guess, yeah. Ain't that the truth?
But even so, there's so much misinformation out there that it's hard to filter, right? It's so hard to know what's legit. And so, like I said, I'm lucky enough. I had the cool mom. I had the one who said, you don't have to talk to me about it, but please talk to an adult somewhere, right? Who's going to give you correct information, or at least where to look, you know, so that I know that you're being safe. And again, she gave me that great piece of advice, is that the more you learn your own body, she's like, if you become an expert at masturbating, you're going to be amazing as a lover, because you're going to be able to teach your partner what to do to flip your switch, right? Because everyone's different. And so, like, I've always enjoyed different types of toys, because to me, what's the ultimate goal? Right. So I'm kind of doing this to segue. Features are entirely dependent on what you want to achieve. Because I saw dozens and dozens of people individually and as couples. They would walk into the store, they'd go to the toy section, and then they'd just stare
Too many
at
options.
the wall. Sometimes you'd get, what is that?
Yeah. I can imagine that one. I probably like I've had that one walking past the sex shop through the window.
I've seen that a couple times as a shopper.
Or my personal favorite, where does that even go? And they're kind of doing this a little.
For me, it was like,
which would be my cue to say, are you being rhetorical, or would you like to see a video? Because like, genuinely, like, we had so many movies, and I could say these 2 movies here actually show that toy being used. So if you're being rhetorical, I can answer you. If you would actually genuinely like to see it being played with, you might want to rent these and decide if that's for you. Because what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to achieve an orgasm? I know that sounds like a really simple question, but people use toys for lots of different reasons that really have nothing to do with orgasms a lot of times. And if you are looking to just receive an orgasm from a toy or a tool, are you doing it for medical reasons? Like, do you have a skull-splitting migraine, and so you need all of the blood to get out of your head and go down to your genitals really quick so that you can get rid of that migraine? Are you so stuffed up from a cold that you need to clear your sinuses, and this is the funnest way to clear those babies out? Do you
That actually
want to relieve?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, big time. Fantastic way to clear your sinuses. Yep. Big time. Big time.
That's
Do you want some
information
cardio?
enough.
Do you want more cardio in your day-to-day life? So do you want to get your heart rate up and to breathe heavy? Right? Do you want to relieve some anxiety because you are so wound up and you have such a busy brain, you cannot sleep? So not only are you playing with a toy to achieve an orgasm, but are you using that orgasm for a different reason? So do you want wham, bam, thank you, ma'am? Like, I want to get off in 20 seconds or less, bada bing, bada boom. Or in the case of like more cardio or relieving anxiety, do you want it to last a little longer so that you can really kind of let that tension go? You can really sort of kind of get into it and take your mind to another place. So the features that your toy is going to have, whether it's got all the dials and buttons like that other one I showed you guys, is it angled to hit a G spot? Is it angled to simulate something else? Like the end on this one, and I don't know how to describe it for those that are just listening, but it
looks
sort of
like
does
a mini shoe.
Yeah.
Looks like
it's sort of
almost like
it's sort
an
of like
upside
a
down
curved
boot.
finger. It's sort of a curved finger.
That's probably a better way to
But
describe
it's nice and wide. And then this silver part is the actual motor in there that will vibrate. And you can actually buy just these little silver bullets that they call them.
Yeah.
And they're a great little size. So they are a very versatile sort of little tool. So this particular angle on a woman can be used to find that amazing G spot. The nose is flexible enough that if you just rubbed it on a clitoris, it feels a lot like a tongue. So same thing, if you are the kind of person that really enjoys a tongue around your anal sphincter, again, this feels a lot like a tongue. And that is very enjoyable. This would be a great sort of size and flexibility on a man's perineum. For anybody who doesn't know that spot, it's that tiny strip of flesh between the base of your testicular sac right before the opening to your anal sphincter. So it's
the gooch!
little...
The gooch!
The taint.
The gooch!
The in between us. The good old
The
in between
gooch!
us.
The taint.
The
Because it
gooch!
taints your balls and it taints your butthole. But it's actually in medical terms. So there you go, Sarah V. You're learning a new medical term, is perineum. So
I actually already knew that. So.
I didn't know that. I'm gonna be honest.
I
But
mean,
you didn't learn that in school, right? So this would again be a really great sort of size, and then that flexibility, because that skin is really sensitive. So you'd want to be careful with any toys that were a little bit of a harder material, or even had kind of edges to them. You'd want to be really careful around that. So when I say features are entirely dependent on what you're after,